the recording. Yeah. Before we jump to questions for PK, and as I do have some questions prepared, feel free to keep populating the text chat with your questions, and I'll pick them up, or you can unmute and speak as and when we take those logical breaks. Otherwise, a few statistics and numbers that I would like to call out, and I'm going to read this out. Yeah, according to the International Coaching Federation Global Coaching Study in 2020, the demand for coaching services has been steadily increasing over the years, with more individuals seeking personal and professional development coaches who can effectively showcase their expertise and are likely to attract a large client base. That is a wonderful data. But in the same study, another data fact is the estimated global revenue generated by the coaching industry has reached 2.849 billion in 2019. Representing a significant increase. So again, all of that is wonderful, but we have also seen an upsurge in the number of coaches that are now ready to coach clients, certified and credentialed coaches in the last 3 years, actually tripling, which is an astounding number. The growth in the last 10 years, in the last 3 years, seems to be almost equating. Which means the coaching industry is becoming extremely competitive, with thousands of coaches entering the market, and it is becoming a struggle for all of us to keep our head up, for our clients to notice. Of course, that's the noisy marketplace as I gather. So my first question to you, PK, is knowing all of this wonderful number of coaches increasing, demand is increasing, but how do I and the coaches here in the room get noticed in this marketplace of thousands of coaches?
Thank you, Shanti. And you have, I think, set the context for today's discussion pretty well. And when you mentioned it is a noisy market. A couple of hygiene things before we start. This series of 4 sessions is aimed at coaches setting up their own coaching business, not for coaches operating through coaching platforms. They might find this irrelevant or lesser relevant. And views shared here are purely my personal views and not necessarily that of ICF, or for that matter, even ICF Bengaluru chapter. And the third is that if there are some otters or woodpeckers or seals or any such AI tools in the room, I would take a break of 10 seconds so that they can log out and join as themselves. So Shanti, you can help me with checking through whether there are any AI, so normally used otter and woodpecker and, kind of AI tools. So if they are there, please request them to log out and join as individuals, please.
I'm doing that right away.
Unless the is running fast, don't worry, I think he will be calling separate.
May I request participants who are not speaking to be on mute, please? And I'm going to mute all for a second, and PK, if you can unmute and then respond to my question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shanti. So you asked me a question, how do I get noticed in the noisy marketplace? And when you say noisy marketplace, and you gave some numbers of coaches entering the market, but I am the one who believes the number of additions of coaches is still slower than the demand for or the requirement for coaching. So therefore, the marketplace is noisy for 2 reasons. One is that the normally understood number of coaches are increasing. Second is that even the people who feel they need to get coached and the awareness of coaching in general also is increasing at a very, very fast pace. Now, to get noticed, we need to do a few things. So probably first and foremost is positioning is the key. We discussed at length in the session 1 on 3rd of July, being seen as attractive to a particular segment rather than being attractive or trying to be appealing to everyone, in which case it appeals to no one. So we saw that. Occupying a corner, like any other business, we need to occupy a corner that is specified and identifiable and be a big fish in a small pond in that sense. So positioning is the key. And then we get noticed when people come to that corner or for the people who are searching for that corner. Yeah. The second is being mindful of the visible part of the iceberg. We discussed about the iceberg in the session 1. So this will create and build an image, a perception consciously. So we need to be mindful of what is the visible part of us, visible part of the iceberg. And we need to work on that. And that is what is going to create the perception in the marketplace, because they are not going to see what is beneath the water level. The third I can tell you is that being in constant touch with the segment that we have chosen to play. Yeah, when we choose a segment to play, a segment here could be, all middle managers in IT companies. I'm just saying, it is a very vast population. If you are willing, we can further narrow it down. Middle managers working in IT product companies, yeah, or advocates practicing in Bangalore and probably Southern High Courts, Southern Indian High Courts. So when we have identified a segment, be in constant touch with them, online and offline. This is how we will increase our odds to be seen by them, to be felt by them, and not to be missed by them when they are searching for some solution, right? So this can be done online and offline. Sharing some meaningful content, sharing insights, especially in places where the segment spends time. And when we talk about segment, they don't spend the time in the same social media. Today, we think LinkedIn has a particular kind of audience, and Facebook has, Insta has, maybe something else. Similar social media has a attraction to a particular segment to spend time there and to search for solutions. So we need to be there in constant touch with the segment, and we need to choose accordingly what is the social media and how we need to be in constant touch with them. So this is the third thing, we need to be in constant touch with the segment that we are servicing. Fourth, which we find it, since I've been talking about this for a long time now, personal branding, somehow coaches, we are very humble and that is all fine, but personal branding can be done in a subtle way. It's not that personal branding is needs to be flashy and flamboyant, and not necessary. To the segment, how are they liking? How are they consuming brands? That is the way we need to position our personal branding, and we need to see what works, and we need to do more of what works. Yeah, and consistency matters here. We need to be consistent. We need to be disciplined in that way to create personal branding, because it's a process. It takes some time, and part of it we shared in the last segment, last session. If you remember, Shanti, we talked about choosing some colors. See, visually, we need to get a recall. The content, if we put in only in words and even audio, that is where video scores high on social media platforms, because people want to see, feel, and it has more consumption. It is simply more consumed by most of the segments. So while doing that, one of the hacks that I can tell you is that early on in our practice, please choose some colors, some fonts, and apply it consistently. And this place is, as you rightly said, it is quite noisy, and it is very difficult for people to pick signals from the noise. And everyone is trying to do that. We need to help them do that. We need to help our prospects to help themselves, right? So everywhere in our very communication, social media, blogs, websites, choose some colors and stay with it. For example, I have chosen for my practice, black, white, gray, and glacier blue, as it indicates, the glacier blue of Gangotri as the origin of river Ganges. So black, white, gray, and glacier blue. And all this is what you will see in all my website and my models and my communication and my flyers and everywhere. So something of that sort comes, so we know that there is something that PK is trying to say. It will add to our brand building. That is the purpose of discussing this. So choosing some colors, staying with them consistently, all matters and all helps us unconsciously create a perception in the minds of our audience and segments. Fifth, are we on, Shanti?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So networking with the segment, networking with the segment, its influencers, attending the conferences that the segment attends, the meetings that are relevant for the segment, and try and speak in some of those conferences and try to penetrate space in that segment consciously as a coach. Yeah. And then, of course, comes content marketing. That is flavor of the season. I don't think we have a choice to stay away from it because every segment consumes today. Everyone is on a self-improvement path and everyone consumes content. And that is how they advance themselves in whichever segment that they are in. So we need to understand which channel that my segment is consuming. Some consume in writing. There are also short blogs, medium-sized blogs, long articles, then some consume audio, so podcasts, some consume video. So there also you have two, the reels and the long videos, long format videos. So there is no prescription that fits all, there is no one size that fits all kind of prescription here. But what is consistent or what is prescription is that we need to do content marketing. We need to spread our knowledge. We need to share our insights that we are getting or we already have working with the segment. Yeah. Be in the social media where the segment participates and package your content the way they prefer to consume. Just to put it in context, my blogs are 20-second reads. It will have only 3 or 4 sentences, but it will make some enormous value to whoever reads it, my prospects. Is 20-second read that I like to do? It's not my choice. It's not my liking. That is the way my segment is consuming it. So I need to be. And my videos are generally 40 seconds, 60 seconds, at the most 2 minutes, some cases. It is not that I love doing it or I like doing it. It is packaging. In fact, to write a 20-second blog, you take more time than writing a normal blog. But I do it because that is my consumption pattern of my segment, right? So we need to spend time, effort where my segment tries to learn from. So this is something that I would encourage each of us to therefore position ourselves first and then plan our marketing and being visible to that segment very, very consciously. Yeah. And the last point that I wanted to make clear here is that to get noticed in a crowded place, to get noticed in a noisy place, is basically, it is about differentiating ourselves. And we need to have some competitive advantage that will separate us from the normal crowd or the normal noisy place. So each of us have our differentiators. It is not that there are only 2 or 3 players have differentiators in the segment. Even if there are more players in the segment, each one of them will have their own differentiation. For example, I'm not the only coach in this area, but the coaches that are successful in this area, all of them have their own differentiators, their own competitive advantage, and we need to be vocal about it. It is not something that we expect our prospects to figure out. It is not something that we expect our clients to. This is where we need to grow out of our cage. The cage, I am saying, because certain things prevent us from telling what we are. I don't think that helps us to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. So we need to communicate. I'm not saying that you need to take a drum and start beating around. That is not the way I am talking about this, it is essentially communicating. If we don't tell them, how are they going to know it? If I don't talk about my differentiator, how are they going to know about it? If I am not, showcasing my competitive advantage through my writing, my interactions, my communications, my sharing, my insights, how on earth anyone going to, so this is important to create the pull. Therefore, I am talking about in the push, you can forward whatever you want to, but the pull happens over a period of time. And that is where strangers start coming and enrolling for your programs. So being vocal about competitive advantage, and overall, the purpose of saying all this is that you need to be visible in that chosen segment to be seen as an expert to go to in the segment, and remind you and mind you and repeat at the cost of repetition, we still do coaching as the method to help find solutions for our prospects. So there is no dilution on that. I know doesn't mean I am not becoming a coach. So we need to strengthen our core competencies in coaching. We need to be very choosy of what we do with the prospects once they sign up. And we do coaching, but we need to be seen as an expert in that segment, thereby becoming a big fish in that small pond.
Big fish in that small pond.
Yeah.
So PK, you've been using prospect and segment. Can you give us definitions so that we clearly know what is prospect and what is segment before I ask the next question?
Okay. Segment is an area. Prospect is the people in that area who are likely to sign up with you, who are likely to work with you. So the segment is an area where they exist, and prospects are individuals or the companies, if it is B2B, who are trying to or who are going to sign up with you. So it can be that Bangalore IT security middle level managers is the segment. Then A, B, C, D is prospects.
Perfect. So if that's the definition, do I need to do anything additional to become visible to my prospects?
That's a good question. Okay. So now from whatever I said, this is being visible in a noisy market. That part we discussed, how to be visible in the noisy market, attractive to the segment. Now you are asking a question where how do, or is there anything else to be done to be visible to prospects?
Correct.
I think that is the second stage. That is the next stage. Yeah. And we need to be visible to the prospects in the segment. And is it watertight? It is not watertight. Once you are in the segment, you are already visible to people who are in the segment, right? So if you have already occupied a corner, the people who are there or who are coming in search of the corner, there is a high chance they find you, okay? So what you are chasing also chases you, So the way we are chasing the prospects, for that matter, prospects also are in a chase to find the right coach, okay? So there is a meeting point that happens. Now coming to your specific question on how do or what do I do to become visible to prospects in the segment? The first and foremost is online. Today, everyone consumes online content. So actively pursuing, connecting in social media, digital world with messages and posts targeted at the prospects, So what I am sharing should be useful for the prospects. So it should be relevant and it should be addressed to a segment. And then the prospect, when he or she reads it, they should get benefited. Yeah, and the prospect should be benefited. So our post and our insights and our sharing of knowledge is not random, not, here and there, not all over the place. It is specifically addressed to the prospect. So if the prospect, in my case, my prospects are people who are already leaders who want to enhance their leadership presence. So my posts also are on leadership presence. How one can enhance the leadership presence, not on leadership. Yeah. So that is what I mean here. we need to be specifically talking to them as if they exist. You don't see them, but they exist. So your messaging should be to those as if they exist. So when I do any sharing any insight or sharing articles, sharing insights from an article or sharing a quote or whatever, I imagine an ideal client in my definition, you know, a CXO or CEO of a large company, a leader. How is it going to be received by him? And then I share. So that is very important. You know, we need to get into the shoes of my prospect and then start contact, you know, start sharing, and my activities need to be aligned to the prospects. So that is first and foremost. And second is that insights, information, research findings, you know, articles, quotes, and the like. It need not be proprietary information most of the time, because people don't have time to go through everything. And I, as a coach, supposed to be going through these things for the segment that I have chosen. Yeah. Now a question may come in the minds of coaches, and the kind of, you know, this I am preempting this doubt that if we need to be experts in that area, then what about my coaching? This is the myth I have been trying to burst right from the day one. And this is the myth that I have been trying to break from the minds of us coaches, well-meaning people, for the last 8 years. That becoming an expert doesn't prevent us from being a coach, a good coach at that. Yeah. Rather, knowing our terrain, knowing our segments terrain, knowing our prospects terrain makes me a better coach, alongside the CCs and other things that we talk about. So we need to be, you know, in places where my segment spends time, my prospects searches for solutions. So we need to be there, sharing the content that is specifically addressed to the prospect so that they bite it. This is no way different from any other marketing. Yeah. This is no way different from any other marketing, you know, whatever they call it, you know, the baits or whatever. So now the digital presence almost seems like a must to, irrespective of the segment, as I told earlier. So a good website, this is important, Shanti, a good website, an impressive social media profile, whichever social media that my prospects are spending time in, and a complete Google business profile. Yeah. If we have time later, we would take a you know, quick survey of how many of us in this call has a Google business profile, and Google provides it free of cost. Google doesn't charge for that. And in every search, this appears. This has highest weightage in any search in the Google. And Google rating also, when you start getting, after you start adding clients and adding network people, you go and request them for Google rating. We discussed this briefly in, I think, in the first session. So I asked for Google rating with all my clients and prospects. So whom we are closer to, who have experienced me, I ask them for Google rating. Whoever has experienced me, I ask them for a Google rating. Yeah, even from network, I ask them. So when somebody rates us in Google, the weightage increases. And if you go to my Google business profile, I would encourage participants who are interested to explore this further. And if it looks like a good idea for you, welcome to go and check PK Narayanan business profile, how it is organized, and you know, what are the kind of things that I put there, and the Google rating and things like that. And this is free, right? And therefore, a good website, a clean, we discussed about that in the second session. Yeah. Impressive social media profile, sharp, attractive. And third, a very good Google business profile, because any prospect searches in the net, and by far Google outweighs any other browser. So therefore, it is worth investing our time creating a good Google business profile. Yeah. And content sharing can be done through website also. You can have a blog page, you can have an articles page. That would also enhance the engagement with prospects. And another important aspect to be visible to prospects is that participate in conferences where prospects come, participate in seminars where prospects come, and participate in the local chamber of commerce. If you are in the business leadership, business coaching or whatever, see where your prospects are more. And again, all the business chambers are not same, FKCCI or BCIC in Bengaluru or TIE, all these can be business associations, right? So you need to see which one is more appropriate. For example, me, I am an SME focused scale-up coach. Therefore, I go to BCIC because BCIC compared to CII or FICCI has more SME players. So that is what I encourage you to do, that you participate where prospects are likely to be there. And in one of those conferences, one of those seminars, one of those webinars, volunteer to be a speaker and get the visibility. And all this to be seen as an expert in the segment and being attractive to the prospects, working on the top side of your iceberg. And we still do coaching. We still do coaching when you sign up with a client, because that is the method that works for them, because they have already tried training and mentorship and everything, right? So you do coaching so that they get solutions and you get a word of mouth after that.
In all the modes, methods, channels you've shared just now, PK, in terms of becoming visible, networking, one-on-one connects, be in the forums where your prospects are, and all of the social media digital presence. I think the digital presence, that part of it weighs really heavy for a lot of us, though maybe doing the in-person connects may be more time consuming and present, but the digital presence seems to be heavy. I have a couple of questions, but let me check. Ajit, do you remember the question we had said we will answer later that you had posted for during the first session?
Shanti, I'm trying to recollect that as, but I think if I'm not wrong, no, I think if I'm not wrong, that question has got answered. And okay, the other question which I had asked was probably, I think, if I'm not wrong, again, PK had said that will get answered in the 4th session. And the question that I recollect was about talking about the these aggregators or the coaching platforms.
Yeah.
Platforms. So the one
I think that was on 4th session, PK, or was it for the 3rd session?
It is going to be in 4th session, but there was one session. I remember Ajit's question.
I'm going to read that out.
Okay, then great.
Oh, you found it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on some companies who help coaches do all of this social media presence, etc.? All that we have talked about so far, how much of it is done by self as a coach, or can we hire some agencies to do this as a service?
Okay. Yeah.
This
okay,
is
so that's relevant for the 3rd session then.
Yeah, that was relevant for 3rd session. Yeah, this is the question.
Yes.
So
Thank
here,
you,
my view is that when we are trying to be visible to our prospects, we need to be as authentic as possible. And when I say as authentic as possible, whether online, offline, it is very, very, easy today to see through for any prospects, anybody consuming on-site, online or digital or offline contents. It is very difficult to see through. It is very easy to see through rather. So if we use languages which are differential, if we use content that might seem like coming from a GPT, people are going to figure it out. In my view, authentic, personally involved, content would get more rating than, or when I say rating, more trust and more leverage, more traction than the content that people are trying to throw there just for the Google search engine optimization and usage of, the words, search words and things like that. So I am not a votary of any particular thing. I am nobody to even judge what is right, what is wrong. But what I think appropriate is to give content that is proprietary, that is authentic, And if we are giving any comment on any article or some brief from an article and then posting the article, and wherever we are giving a quote or whatever, we can always attribute credits to where the source, coming from. But to write articles and getting it written by some agencies, etc., people are doing. I mean, people are doing, even businesses are doing that. As a coach, since our process to be quite serious onlookers, it might do us more good if we create our content and we post it, or help somebody to edit what we have written. Because if we think that our vocabulary or our way of articulation needs some refinement, I would go what is written by me getting edited by someone rather than someone writing it and me editing it.
Thanks, PK. A very related question.
Thank you.
Yatish has. Yatish, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, sure, Shanti. Thanks. Thanks, PK, for your insights both online and offline. So my question is very related to what you just touched upon, PK. So I believe that the content space is very notoriously recycled. You see content getting recycled in all shapes and forms, and people speaking about the same thing over and over again in different ways. And to add to that, today there is, like you just touched upon, there are so many artificial ways of generating content. So how does one remain relevant amidst all this noise and still be authentic? So right, as a coach, it's so important for me to be authentic. So how do I really stand out of this noise?
Okay, Yatish, when you asked content getting recycled, is it recycled by the same person or multiple people?
No, it's the same. For example, the topic. Now you talk about resilience. Today there's one person talking about resilience. Tomorrow someone else will talk about it. Today in a slide form, tomorrow in a video form. So many things. Right?
Yeah. So what's your view when I do this? I'm going to say this is a real, it's a fact. I blog about something for four sentences, something that is extremely relevant for my prospects. Then I try to bring a bit more vocabulary around it and do a podcast on it, and then bring either edit it or whatever, try to bring a video on it. So what do you think of this? Would it classify as recycling in your definition?
If you are posting it in different ways, then it's not recycling. But you know what you're talking about, someone else also picks up and talks about the same thing, and the third person. So you see, every day you see the same topics being talked about. That's what I mean.
Yeah, there is always a flavor of the season. Some time back it was quite fitting, kind of. So everyone who has an opinion tries to, make it an opinion heard on that. So just to come back to that, the question that I asked was relevant because I do that. I do a blog, then I do a podcast on the same topic, similar content, and then I do a video of the same content. But it may not all happen in quick succession. Maybe the blog is sometime, let's say in July now, and the podcast may come in somewhere November, December, and the video may appear in March next year. And it will go, all of this will go to the same set of my network in LinkedIn and Facebook and my broadcast list even in WhatsApp. The reason for doing that is that the consumption of people are different. The pattern of consumption, some people only hear and some people only see and some people only read. And we don't want that insight to get lost, right? Because of my prospects consumption. That is one aspect. Second aspect, again, it is a recall. Many people have come back to me saying that, thank you for reminding us. The same message has reached them earlier, but thank you for the reminder. So we, being humans, we have a tendency when we hear few times, our retention is likely to be more. And ultimately, this is, I do very less as marketing, and the purest form of marketing is that when it doesn't look like marketing. Yeah, it is our intent and it is our utmost care and concern for my prospects that I am sharing this with them. Yeah, and I'm absolutely okay whether they sign up or don't sign up or whatever. And for this particular aspect, there is some 600, 800 people who have reached out to me and we couldn't go forward. Maybe for the fees, investment, they were not prepared, or for various reasons, we didn't work together over the last 10, 11 years. But all of them get my messages twice a week. Yeah, and some of them, this I told last time also, some of them after 3, 4 years have come back and signed up. So when we do marketing at this level, it wouldn't look like marketing to the recipient. That is the beauty, or that is the test of whether we are doing a drumming or we are just being of service to them. So my encouragement, my wish is that we circulate the same content in different forms, only with a intent of, one, their pattern of consumption doesn't filter them out. Second, reminder, even for somebody who does consume all the kinds, even they get 3 times a reminder, so that it gets, the internalization or the imbibing chances are more. And so that is how I would like to. But if the question was that something that gets talked about by everyone, yeah, I think that is the noise in the market, because there will also always be a flavor of the season and everyone would like to talk about something about it. So it is your choice whether you need to talk about it or not.
Sure. Thanks, PK.
Yes, PK. Shankar, do you want to ask your question?
Can you hear me, Shanti?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, PK, early on when Shanti shared the statistics on the number of coaches increasing, I think you were quite categorical in saying you still believe that there is more demand than availability of coaches. So I'm curious, how are you coming to that conclusion, or on what basis you say that?
Because I am seeing around a lot of blue ocean, I mean, absolutely virgin markets who are unaddressed or untendered, untouched by even a concept of coaching, especially India. So therefore, if one focuses enough, you have enough numbers. If you generally ask how many middle-level managers in Bengaluru, it will go to probably big thousands, if not to 1 lakh. And that is true with the sizes. And how many clients you need, Shankar, for that matter, to run a big, good, successful coaching business? I need in single digits, for example. To run a very successful business, I need in single digits at any point in time. If I have 10 clients, I am super, super successful. And that's all I need. That is where I want to encourage to look at a segment. Because we keep the funnel mouth so big, everybody looks like a prospect and nobody really enters the funnel. Yeah. So our hits look to be more of misses. The reason is that our net is so widely cast that no one finds us. We don't have a corner. We are in the highway. Yeah. Instead, if we choose a corner and be visible to the people who are searching for the corner or who are already in the corner, I see a lot of corners unattended. So that makes me believe that the demand, not necessarily demand that is there out there. We need to create demand because the demand is unfelt. Most of the demand for coaching in India is still not realized. So we need to help them find us. We need to help them help themselves. So that is what makes me believe. If you ask me, there is any data point, I don't have any. It is just a feeling.
Okay. Thanks, PK. I mean, I had a follow-on question, Shanti, but I'll leave it to you whether I can ask it now or later.
Is it related to what PK
Yes.
was saying? Yeah,
Yes,
please.
yes. So, I mean, one question I always have is it all possible to have a niche which is too narrow? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the niche or positioning the corner, as narrower it is, the better.
Thank you.
Thanks, PK. Shamik, you want to ask your questions and then Jagdish, I'll come to you after Shamik.
Sure. Thanks, PK. Thanks. There's some wonderful nuggets in here. I've got two questions. The first one is, you'd mentioned that your blogs are 20 seconds. I mean, it just takes 20 seconds to read. Now, I know the video, generally suggested that it should be 60 to 120 seconds. Now, how did you arrive at this 20-second blog thing? I mean, did you do any survey? Or I'm curious to know how you arrived.
Yes, it is based on the consumption pattern of my potential prospects. So anything outside the screen, they don't scroll. So it is deep involvement with the segment and deep connect. The way in which they prefer receiving things has led me to this. So my prospects, if anything is longer than that, they don't read. They think they will read later, which means they never read. Similarly, I mention in what I am enclosing and sending, whether WhatsApp or LinkedIn or whatever, I mention specifically 20 seconds so that people who are on the go checks it out. And my videos are 120, maximum 120, 60 seconds mostly. I have even 40 seconds videos. The reason is that they check it out. So it is based on the behavior or the consumption preference of my prospects that I have chosen this. It was not that I do it by my whims or I like doing it or something. No. In fact, as I told you, it is extra effort to create this as sharp and as short as 20 seconds. I spend more time, but in the service of my consumers. So it is, to answer you, yes, it is based on their consumption pattern that I have formatted this. And I have stayed with it for 8 years now. So my blogs in the website, there are 400, 500 plus. I do 2 blogs a month, but you will see there is a couple of blogs every month, ever since 2012, 2013. Okay. That is also important. The consistency is important for market to evaluate you. So for prospects to notice you, consistency is very important.
All right. Thanks a lot. And the second one, can I go ahead with the second one, Shanti, or you want to have Jagdish and this?
Go ahead, Shamik.
All right, quickly. PK, you also mentioned you've got to be an expert, or you need to demonstrate to your segment that you are the expert. Now, I mean, I find this a little contradictory. I think I'm missing the point out here. If you can just clarify this for me. There's this commonly repeated refrain that you don't necessarily need to be an expert, and know everything about your prospects area of work or whatever to be an effective coach. So can you just explain that to me? I think I'm missing something out here.
I totally agree with what you just now said.
Yeah.
You don't need to be knowing anything about your prospects to be an effective coach. But to be an effective businessman or to run an effective business of coaching.
Okay, I get it.
We need to do that, is my view. So to be a coach, you don't need to know anything about anybody.
Sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I got
totally
it.
agree with that.
Yeah.
And to be a coach, I don't need to know my clients, or I don't need to know my prospects. I totally agree with that. And to run a business of coaching is a different ballgame.
No, clear. I guessed I was missing something. Thanks a lot. Yes, thank you.
Jagdish, your question.
Thanks, Shanti. Hi, PK.
Hi.
Hi, PK. Thanks. Some great points that you brought up today. I missed the second session. I liked the first and today's session. Thank you for all the valuable points. I have a very funny question. In the sense, I mean, most of you know about it, that I earmark X amount of time in my calendar for coaching. It's not that I do coaching all the time. I spend a lot of time with family and other stuff, and therefore I have a certain amount of time for coaching. And I find that at times I have to say no to clients.
Mm.
And do you have any strategies? Because when you say no to clients, and you may try to be very, very nice and very humble, but very often we can get sort of misunderstood.
Mhm.
And one of the clients said, abhi to bada aadmi ban gaya hai, stuff like that, So I'm really flummoxed as to how do I handle this? I don't want to come across as somebody who doesn't want to coach. At the same time, I don't want to say that, that I have only this number of hours, so therefore I can't take you and my calendar is full. How do I handle this, PK?
Okay, so today we have we have a session on how to create visibility, and now you have a problem of excess visibility. So
No, I wouldn't say it's excess visibility. It's just that it's that X
no,
amount of hours or time.
Jagdish, absolutely. It is the iceberg, or the what is visible outside the iceberg, that is probably creating this leads flow to you. So probably in the interest of now, is it okay? It is just a proposal, Jagdish, that I give you, we take it offline and I give a call, and probably I can explain what I do in such stuff, but I am not in exactly the similar situation. I still am looking for clients, but we can probably have a conversation. We can have a free-flowing conversation on that, because this session is aimed at creating visibility, and you seem to be having a different problem on the other end.
I look forward to that.
Thank you, Jagdish. I would give you a call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you for confirming your question has already been answered. And I've been responding to people one-on-one, indicating which questions will be responded for in session 4. So thank you for your patience. Then I'm just looking at people. Put up your hand because it's fine. Tejasvi, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. PK, my question is, what's been your experience with paid ads on Google or LinkedIn?
God's sake, can you just help him? Yeah. He's sitting in this floor on a wet floor. Can you go?
Am I audible?
Shanti, can you please mute everybody? I will unmute and I. Tejasvi, my experience is bad in both paid ads, Google, paid ads, LinkedIn. Yeah, I have not found positive results. So I don't do at all. I don't do any paid promotion in Google or in LinkedIn. LinkedIn I did, but yeah. So Google, I don't do any paid promotion. Instead, I'm investing right from 2015 to create a SEO pull, search engine optimization in an organic way, a white hat search engine optimization. And again, SEO, we can get caught in the, in the promises, and digital marketers come in all forms and shapes and sizes. So what I understand from experts, I am not an expert, is that search engine optimization, in order to gain position, you have some shortcuts and some methods that are not recognized as white hat. So Google forever blacklist you. So it can be quite unproductive and anti, probably counterproductive in that sense. So I have stayed investing in organic ways, not on paid promotion on both the platforms that you mentioned.
Thank you.
Shikha, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. So my question, PK, is that, as individuals, we also consume a lot of content from social media, and a lot of it, at least to me, resonates very well with me and my field of work too. So, I'm just curious to know that instead of reinventing the wheel and in creating a new content altogether, if I repost that same content, which is very related to my field of work, and I mean, I definitely and completely agree with that content. Can I repost that by, of course, giving them the due credits that like this quote had been said by such and such person, but it resonates. I mean, this is what we also work in. Would that work, or do I have to create fresh content?
Yeah, Shika, it's a good idea that resonating thoughts and quotes can be shared so that your network, your prospects get it. My request to you or my encouragement for you will be that, can you add some insights that you draw from whatever it is written, or can you custom make it to your prospect? Yeah, and with your comment, your not comments, thoughts. Yeah, in LinkedIn it is called repost with your thoughts. So you can do that, not comments, not after the repost comments. That assumes another level of resonance as well as consumption and perception. But you can repost with your thoughts in the body of the post. It is very much
Sure.
a good idea to do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think.
Yeah.
Reposting it with my own thoughts too.
With your
to
own
that
thoughts and your own
Great.
takeaway and your own personality. So your personality you can bring into the into the post. So that is another thing that I earlier questioned, whether a sales or a agency can do your articles and your blogs and your posts. Yeah, where is my personality? Because the prospects are buying you, not your coaching. We discussed this in the first session. People are buying you, not coaching. Yeah.
Sure,
So
I get it. Yeah.
coaching
Thank you.
is a tool. Coaching is a method. Therefore, people are very careful who uses the tool. If you are going to use the maybe the chisel and the hammer at your home in your furniture, you are very careful who uses it. Similarly, in a coaching scenario, the prospects are very careful who uses the tool. Coaching is just a tool. That per se is not a sales service. It is not a sellable service. So it is a tool. Yeah. So who does it is what they are looking for. So in everything you do, you need to bring your personality, your competitive advantage as much as possible. I am saying, we need to be the back of your mind. We need to be presenting ourselves in an authentic way, in our comments, in our thoughts, in our articles, blogs, and everything. So Shika, some of those thoughts that why you are reposting it, and how you are serving your prospects by reposting it can give you some idea what you should be writing and doing before reposting. Yeah.
Sure, thanks. This answers my question.
In the interest of time, we'll take two more questions, one from Stuti, one from Shripad. If anybody else has questions that have not been answered, we'll get PK to answer them and then circulate back to you. So Stuti, over to you.
Thank you, Shanti. Hi, PK. Thank you for this lovely session. I've been listening to your recording for previous two sessions. My question is the transition from being a coach to becoming creating a business out of coaching. How to handle or deal with this selfless or shameless self-promotion, which you mentioned that we should be promoting ourselves, we should be putting us out there. But there is always this hesitation and dilemma of how can I praise myself out there? So just your views and some guidance on that.
Stuti, a coach can help. So a coach can help work on those fears or those challenges or what stops me. And again, I'm telling you, it is not shameless promotion. We apply that filter. Am I being shameless or am I within limits? So in marketing, we should do things within limits because we still have not seen or known the prospects. I said in sales process, there is no shame in asking our people asking for reference, asking for people, because you know them, you can ask. There is no shame there in asking for help. But in marketing, we need to be operating within limits. If we start drumming ourselves and, because there is promotion, I need to promote. So everywhere there is a coordinate from which we need to operate. So even in marketing or self-promotion, there is a spectrum. So in that, where I need to operate, that is consistent with the values and the outcomes that I want out of the whole exercise, right? So that is where some of the inhibitions we as coaches may have to remove. That was my purpose of saying that we need to be talking about what they get when they come to me. Not saying I am great, I am that, I am this and all that. If you come to me, this is what you get. There is no, I don't think you can always moderate your messages. So to what extent to moderate, to what extent to come out of the box that we have kept for ourselves and the limitations that we have put for ourselves, definitely Stuti, a coach can help you work and overcome and do something that you feel comfortable with. Because we need to be comfortable under our skin. Whatever we do, we should be feeling comfortable under our skin. Otherwise, that also will show up in the marketplace. If you are doing not aligned with you, authentic, that also will show up. There are so many people that you can make out in social space that they are just talking because someone is asking them to talk like that. So that will be seen through. So I won't suggest that.
Thank you. Shripad, your question?
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a great compliment to you, PK and ICF Bangalore. Great sessions. My question comes from the point that, okay, though I have 35 years experience in IT, as a coach, I am rookie, to be honest. And that's where where to start or whether to ride onto already existing brand like Apprentice or Enlisted Coach before I start branding myself. Because at this moment, only the people I worked with in last 35 years, they know me. They know me what it is because I have mentored them. But as a coach, I am rookie. So that's where my dilemma comes. Where do I start? I have not written any blog. I have fielded hundreds of pages of RFPs, but no blog as such. So that's, yeah.
So as a rookie, you are a rookie in coaching as a process. But as a businessman, as a manager, as a leader, as a friend, as a family man, you have your own life, right? You have had your own life. So how is that? That is what is visible outside. That is the top part of your iceberg. And coaching is a rookie. By the way that you are saying that you are a rookie in coaching, you are saying it is under the water level. That is what you are trying to say. So how do you get visibility of that? And how do you get visibility of that is to go and see whether from the top of the iceberg, are there any catchment, any segment, any people, prospects who would taste your coaching? Is there going to be some fast movers from that network that you already have who will bite your coaching for pro bono or for discounted fare or for your normal fare? Is there somebody who will bite? Those will be the low-hanging apples.
Yeah, that's how it has been going on so far. Ex-colleagues contacting me that I am in a dilemma whether to change my job or not. I am on the verge of burnout. I am on the verge of boredom. That's how I have been doing. So probably what you said, create a Google profile and get some recommendations from them.
And you start blogging or you start consuming. See, people have to see you. People have to feel you. So you see if burnout and career, how those sessions, if the sessions have gone well and they have got benefited, probably you start positioning there. That midlife, burnout, all those things are good positioning for a particular age group and particular position. You can narrow it down and then start be visible in that space consistently for next few weeks, months. And that is how you start getting noticed in that segment and that people. Yeah, Google, these are all things that you can do. There needs effort from us. Someone else also was asking the other day, we have invested and we have done so much for coaching. Now setting up a business looks to be a daunting task. How do I transform from being a coach to a business of coach? This is always there. If we are understanding it now, our understanding is a bit late, that's all. And that is true with everything. Lawyers are passing out of colleges. Chartered accountants are passing out, and auditors are passing out, and engineers are passing out. So finding a job and getting into a job and earning well is everybody's find after they get qualified. This is not different. So my encouragement for you is that try to follow this, what we have been discussing, and try to find your corner, try to find your sweet spot, be consistently be visible there, and be visible, share your thoughts, share your insights, and be there where your prospects are going to search for you. Don't be there everywhere. You cannot be.
Right.
We are all human beings, so we can be only in some places at a particular time. And that way you try to maximize being a big fish in a small pond.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, PK. Wonderful session as always. There are a couple of questions that I'm just noticing I missed, but I'll share those to you and so that you can answer and we'll revert back. Eagerly looking forward to the final session. How do I price myself? Because I have loads of questions in that section, and I'm sure a lot of our peers are going to have questions in that space, and looking forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much.
much, PK.